Hey everybody, it's Dr. Johnny Bowden here, and if you're wondering why I have what looks like a kitchen table in the middle of my living room, it's because this is one of the ways I do my live TV appearances from my home. And I was just on WTBF, my friends in Nashville, answering a bunch of questions about food, and I figured what better way than to use this set to answer a question about food for you guys. And it's a question that comes in from Quora, and it comes in quite frequently, and it is grass-fed meat really better for you? In other words, stuff's more expensive, almost always. Should we pay the price? What do we get? What's the benefit of grass-fed meat over regular meat? So the benefits are multiple, and they start with not what's in grass-fed meat, but what's not in grass-fed meat. And that is antibiotics, steroids, bovine growth hormone, the pesticides from the grain they shouldn't be eating in the first place. So that stuff is not in grass-fed meat, and right away, that makes it better than processed meat. But grass-fed meat also, because the cows are raised on grass, which is their natural diet, on pasture, they have far more omega-3s than processed meat. In fact, processed meat has virtually no omega-3s. But cows are chewing on grass and worms and insects. They got tons of omega-3, or certainly compared to processed beef. And the other thing is that processed beef is very high in omega-6s, which are pro-inflammatory. That's these vegetable oils I was just talking about on WTBF. Vegetable oils like corn oil and safflower oil and sunflower oil and canola oil and all these oils we've told that are healthy, they are loaded with omega-6s, which are pro-inflammatory and outnumber the omega-3s that we need to fight the fight against inflammation. So you don't want your meat loaded with these same vegetable oils, these same omega-6s that we're trying to get out of our diet. And the balance between 6s and 3s is very important for human health. And in processed meat, it's very high in favor of 6 and very low in favor of 3s, and it's far more balanced in actual grass-fed meat. So the absence of the bad stuff and the presence of good things like omega-3s, and as a bonus, something called CLA, you can look that up on Google, conjugated linolenic acid. It has a long history of being used as an anti-cancer compound, and it's been investigated for weight loss properties. So whether it does all those things or not, it certainly doesn't do anything bad and probably does some good stuff. I've written about it in a number of books. And it only comes from grass-fed animals. It's just not made in the stomachs of ruminants that eat grain, which they shouldn't be eating, and which makes them sick in the first place. So those are all the advantages of grass-fed beef. It is really a health food. And I've said many times that if the only meat that were available to me was the garbage that we buy in the supermarket for the most part, and for the most part what we eat at fast food restaurants, I've become a vegan. And I'm, as you know, very, very far from a vegan. In fact, this is about the only thing I agree with vegans about, which is the farming conditions under which cows are raised or animals are raised are horrendous, hideous, inhumane, and highly unhealthy. Totally agree. But where I disagree with the vegans is that's not the only meat that's available to us. And that you can eat meat that's a health food if you eat this. Now, here's where the manufacturers get really shifty. Every cow in America, listen to me now, that includes the cows they use to make McDonald's meat and Burger King meat. It includes the cows they use to make most of the supermarket meat, the mystery meats that show up in sausages. Every cow in America is raised on grass for the first 6 months of their life. They're not sent out to market or to the big factory farms where they're fattened up on grain and all that. It doesn't happen until they're 6 months old. Every cow. So what do you think unscrupulous manufacturers have done? They've capitalized on the grass-fed craze. They go, oh, customers think that's healthy. Let's slap it on. Our cows were grass-fed. Yeah, for the first 6 months of their life they were. And they were probably very healthy, except for the antibiotics and growth hormones. But then when they send them to a factory farm, that's when they eat corn and grain and all the things they were never meant to eat, that makes their stomach acid, that requires even more antibiotics to keep them from getting sick and also to incidentally help fatten them up. So any advantage you had from that first 6 months is gone, man. If you're going to finish the cow, finish is a nice word for the last few weeks of its life or the last few months of its life, you're going to finish it on grain, you just undid everything that might be good about the grass-fed diet. So don't be fooled by this 100% grass-fed. Yeah, it's 100% grass-fed for 6 months. I want to see grass finished. It's on this. Yeah, you got to look for it a little harder, grass finished. Or not grain finished, or anything that tells me that they didn't just feed it grass for 6 months. This was from birth to death. Hopefully a much more humane death, because usually on farms that are really, truly pasture raised for the entire life, these are farmers who know their cows by name, and they treat them a lot differently than they're treated on factory farms, and they have a very different life. Their stress hormones are different. Even their slaughter is frequently very different. So the answer to the question, is grass-fed meat better for you than processed meat, is 100% yes. But it has to be really grass-fed meat, 100% from birth to death, not grain finished. Okay, this is Dr. Johnny Bowden. I love doing these core questions, so just keep them coming, or send them to my website, info@johnnybowden.com. Write in, put them in the comment section. I love hearing from you, and I'll keep answering them either in this format or in another. And don't forget to go to my website, johnnybowden.com, so you can hear about all the new things that are coming out, especially the new book that's going to be released this year, and I'd love to be talking about that to you directly. So get on my mailing list. It's free. I don't sell you a lot of stuff, and hopefully it'll all work out. If you like this, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you very soon on the next video.